Record Store Nation, how the hell are you? We are back. This is May. And before we go on, before I explain the concept and that we are taking part in all episodes, Memphis, dramatic pause, in May, before I explain that, I do, of course, have to thank our band, our house band that provides our opening music there. That is Chicken Unlimited. Really like those guys. Got to see them many years ago down in Fort Lauderdale, at a really small club. But Chicken Unlimited, just a really great band. Really enjoy the fact that they did our opening music this month. So, yeah, it is May, and we are back, and we are participating in the STS Network family of shows that are all Memphis related. I think I can say that without a dramatic pause. All Memphis related in the month of May because it's all episodes Memphis in May. I think legally we have to have the dramatic pause in there. I'm not exactly sure the legalities of it. I don't have a legal background, although I did go to law school for 3 days. I consider myself a legal expert, but I don't know about this case. So I'm not sure why we have to have the dramatic pause there, but maybe Brian can illuminate us with that information one of these days. So anyway, because we are talking about Memphis wrestling and so on, Memphis topics on most of the other shows, we are doing a Memphis band on the record store on TRS this time. And so the name of the band is Tora Tora, not Tora Tora Tora, which was the movie and obviously World War II related. But Tora Tora is the name of the band. Had not heard of these guys. The name of the album that we're talking about this time is Bastards of Beale, as in Beale Street, Beale, famous street in Memphis. And it is not exactly along the lines of the normal format of TRS, where, of course, the normal format is I reach onto the voluminous wall of CDs and just randomly grab one. And as long as it's not a greatest hits album, it gets reviewed, just randomly gets reviewed, talked about, whether it's an album I haven't heard in many, many years or an album that I just bought 2 weeks ago. So it is not following that format because, of course, it has to be a Memphis band and it has to play along. We've done this a couple of years now. We've done TRS where we've talked about, let's see, we did the albums from the record store in Memphis that they sent me the albums last year that were not rock albums, but they were still fun nonetheless. So we've done this a couple of years now, and this time it actually is a band from Memphis. And Brian sent me the CD. Actually, it wasn't like a used secondhand, third-hand CD from his collection. He actually got it sent to me probably from Amazon. I'm not sure who, but it was wrapped and it was an actual brand new CD. So thank you, Brian, for sending me the CD. These guys, Tora Tora. So here's some background information. I obviously had not heard of them. I'm guessing many of you have not heard of them, although they had a song on the Billboard charts. So, but anyway, they are the first band from Memphis that got a video on MTV. The name of the song was Walkin' Shoes. They are classified, according to Wikipedia, they're classified as a glam metal band, and they formed in 1985. And as we find out as I listen to the album itself, let's see if we would actually categorize them as glam metal. When I think of glam metal, I think definitely like Motley Crue, probably. And New York Dolls, probably, something like that. But anyway, they said that in interviews, they said that the name of the band, the first name of the band before they went with Tora Tora was Free Beer. So I'm pretty sure they probably had to change that because that probably caused issues when they were appearing in clubs, and it was probably just a smart alecky name to have. So if it was on a marquee and it said Free Beer, the club owners were probably pissed because it was causing all kinds of misinformation. So their first album was called Surprise Attack. And believe it or not, their first debut album actually hit number 47 on the Billboard charts, the album charts. So pretty cool. The fact that I'd never heard of these guys. And I'm sure, like I said, many of you guys probably hadn't heard of them either. So pretty cool that they actually got that much recognition. So they did a couple albums. They had recorded a third album that had not seen the light of day when it was recorded. And at that point, the band split up. It sounded like it was pretty amicable. They just went their separate ways. That was in the late 90s, and they reunited in 2008, put out a couple more albums, a couple more compilation albums, actually. So that third album that had not seen the light of day actually did get picked apart and appeared on some of these compilation albums that the guys did. And this album, which is their fourth studio album called Bastards of Beale, this came out in 2019. So actually pretty current. 2019 as opposed, just a couple of years ago. They haven't released anything since then. I don't know if they're still together, but it would be kind of cool if they were and went on tour because, as you'll see, there's some pretty good stuff here. The album, it's kind of a funny story. The album, when I look at the credits on the album, it comes from Frontier Records. And if you have read All the Right Notes, my book that is available on Amazon.com, you will know that Frontier Records, I had a funny legal story, a funny legal run-in with Frontier Records as it related to a Def Leppard album that I had. So if you've read All the Right Notes, you'll know that story. If you have not, what the hell are you waiting for? You've got to go out and get All the Right Notes. You can get it in Chicago. You can get it at Rolling Stone Records. It is on the shelves at Rolling Stone amongst all the other books that they sell and amongst all the vinyl, the increasing vinyl selection at Rolling Stone. Pretty cool to see vinyl growing again. And of course, the CDs at Rolling Stone. So you can get my book there, or you can get it on Amazon. If you don't have the fortune of being in the Chicago area, you can get it on Amazon. All the Right Notes by Lance LeVine. Check it out. And you'll find the funny story about Frontier Records in there. So anyway, this album, Bastards of Beale, the package comes with the lyrics, so very happy about that. And an overriding theme as we're going through these songs develops. So you'll see what that is. And it helps the fact that it has the lyrics, so it helps me with that. The thank yous from the band, I always appreciate some of the weird thank yous from bands on liner notes. So the thank yous from the band include, quote, everyone who knows that straight up loud rock and roll is still alive and well. So I like that one. And also one of the band members said he thanked his FedEx family. So I'm thinking this guy probably works for FedEx. I'm thinking he's a driver or a package handler or something. He loads trucks. I don't know, because these guys only did have 4 albums. I don't know if they're still together or not. They did break up for a number of years there. And they did, like I said, they made it onto Billboard, so more power to them. But I'm thinking this guy probably works for FedEx and he does the music on the side. So anyway, Bastards of Beale has 11 songs on it, clocks in at just under a shade under 45 minutes. It's their 4th studio album because the compilations I don't know if they count or what, but according to Wikipedia, it was their 4th album. So the other albums were just kind of the greatest hits, I guess, from the first album, couple albums, and then the 3rd album carved up and just used as part of the other compilations that they put out. So anyway, we start with a song called Sons of Zebedee. So it's spelled Zebedee. So, but when they say it in the song, it's Zebedee. So Sons of Zebedee. So right away, immediately, this opens with like a Motley Crue meets Black Crowes kind of sound. And it's immediately appealing to me. Was a fan of Motley Crue, was somewhat of a fan of Black Crowes too. But man, could not be a more accurate comparison for these guys. It completely just sounds like Black Crowes and Motley Crue. Black Crowes in the sense that, Black Crowes. There you go. They could be a super group, Black Crowes. Black Crowes sound here is definitely the singer. The singer sounds just like the dude from Black Crowes, Chris Robinson, I think is the name. But anyway, but he totally sounds like them, and the music, the guitar, totally sounds like Motley Crue. So I really like the sound immediately. Sons of Zebedee is like an extremely catchy rock and roll song. Just has that like complete 50-50 blend of Black Crowes and Motley Crue. Looked it up. Zebedee is a biblical figure. He is the father of James and John, who were 2 disciples of Jesus. So, and as you will see, very, very much strong religious imagery on this album from these guys on these songs. It's just this song, Sons of Zebedee, is a really catchy song. Just a really good open to the album and just really powerful. Just great rock and roll open to this album. So really liked it. One of the highlights of the album starts out really strong with Sons of Zebedee in the opening spot. Second song is called Giants Fall. My first thought was the San Francisco Giants. And as a Dodger fan, I hate the Giants. That's our biggest enemies. Although the D-backs, I'm sorry. if you're an Arizona fan, whatever. But anyway, no, the Giants are always our number one arch nemesis, although we hate the D-bags too. So anyway, but Giants fall has nothing to do with baseball. Nothing to do with the fact that I'm an ardent Dodgers fan, but this again, so much of a Black Crowes sound to it, which is a good thing. I'm okay with that. It sounds just like Black Crowes, primarily the lead singer. You can tell how much the influence is there on this guy. It's a really good thing that they sound like him because they were a fun band. So in this one, he's singing about throwing a stone and a giant falling. So again, it just seems like biblical imagery here. He also mentions in the song Aretha and Dwayne, which is obviously he's got to be referencing musical giants like Aretha Franklin and Dwayne Allman, I'm guessing, paying homage to musical legends here too. So you can tell, in addition to the fact that these guys are very religious, they're also obviously students of rock and roll and big fans of rock and roll. So Giants Fall, another really good song. This one leaning much more towards the Black Crowes side of things than the Motley Crue side of things. So, okay, third song is called Everbright. Believe it or not, this one actually has like a latter-day Zeppelin sound to it. The singer's style leans more towards Robert Plant here. The singer's name, by the way, is Anthony Corder, and the guitarist is Keith Douglas. So Anthony Corder, Corder, not quarter like a coin. Felt I have to clarify that. So, but his style here sounds definitely more like Robert Plant. And when I say latter day, I mean like In Through the Outdoor era Led Zeppelin, not like the really early stuff. But it just had that Zeppelin sound to it. And man, talk about, I'm referencing some heavy hitters when I talk about these guys. And not only that, not only does he sound like Robert Plant-ish, at least Robert Plant style. He doesn't sound like Robert Plant, but just the Robert Plant style and mannerisms on this song. The guitarist, Douglas, actually has like this Jimmy Page kind of sound to it as well, as far as like the guitar. Again, like that In Through the Outdoor kind of latter-day Zeppelin sound. This song, Everbright, is just a fun song about living life with no regrets, which is pretty much my mantra. So probably why this song, I identified with this song as much as I did. So Everbright, another really good song. In the third slot, definitely, like I said, more of a Zeppelin feel than the previous Black Crowes and Motley Crue kind of feel. So, all right, fourth song is called Silence the Sirens. I was thinking Silence of the Lambs. Silence the Sirens. This one has kind of a Police, like that Stuart Copeland kind of, not reggae percussion, but just that Stuart Copeland kind of percussion from the early Police. That's the kind of start to the song, but then the song really kicks in, and then it really leans heavily on the rhythm section. So definitely a lot more heavy on the bass and the drums on this one, on Silence the Sirens. This one, to me, more of a political sound, political message, as opposed to the religious messages that are on so many of the other songs. On this one, he's calling for change, calling for making your voice heard. This one doesn't, as much as I said the Police for the open, that was just a brief part of the song that sounded like Stuart Copeland there, but not as much of an influence on this one as some of the other songs. I will say kind of a mildly Judas Priest kind of sound in the production of it, I would say. But a really good song, very energetic, Silence the Sirens, very powerful message. And again, it's amazing how many of these rock, pioneers and icons I'm mentioning in talking about these guys. So you can obviously tell these guys are super talented musicians, and the guy's voice is just really good. So I've already mentioned the Black Crowes, Motley Crue, Led Zeppelin, the Police, and now Judas Priest. So, I mean, honestly, these guys, it doesn't get much better than those influences until I start mentioning the Stones or something. So anyway, fourth song, Silence the Sirens, another really good one. Fifth song is called Son of a Prodigal Son. A very country acoustic kind of open to it, like just the twangy guitar open to it. Definitely more religious stuff here. Basically, like every other song, if not every song, is religious motivated here. On this one, Lord, prayer, simple soul. These are some of the things that he's talking about and singing about. He sings about trying to avoid temptation, but it's a total rock and roll song. Has a very like marching kind of beat to it. So really good. And I'm not a religious guy. If you know me, you know I'm not a very religious person. So I had to look up what prodigal son means. It is a man who leaves his family to do something that the family doesn't approve of, and he returns home sorry for his actions. So that is the definition of prodigal son. So he is the son of a prodigal son. It's a really good song. Again, this one kind of goes back to that Black Crowes kind of sound to it. But really enjoyed it. Again, just such a good song and a crisp sound from these guys. Just a really fan of Tora Tora on the first half of the album. So we are at the breaking point. We're going to pay some bills. We are going to thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back with side 2 of Bastards of Beale by the band Tora Tora. We'll be right back for all episodes Memphis in May.